welcome, welcome. Let's wait a few minutes. Welcome to the replay. My name is Yasmin and I pretty much make your brand sparkle. I glitter bomb brands. That's what I do. Welcome, hi. Welcome to the replay. Hi, where are you from? Let's see, let's get this set up. Okay, hi. Okay, so let's wait. We'll wait a few more minutes, but pretty much today I'll just be telling you the 4 tips that I have for making your website a bit more readable. Oh, hi. Yeah, let me know how you like it, and yeah, you can message me. I think you probably heard about me on Facebook or something. It's probably where you got the link, and yeah, let me know how you like it if you have any questions. This is just going to be a quick scope, and it's going to be, yeah. Oh, cool. Yeah. Hi. How do you pronounce your name? Is it like Heike? I'm very interested because people mispronounce my name all the time. So, so today we are going to talk about the 4 basic tips for a more readable site. Hika, did I say that right? Hika? Oh, Haika. That actually sounds very nice. Okay, so yeah, yeah, thank you. Okay, so we're going to be talking about just a few tips on how to make your site more readable and, you know, more user-friendly, because I've been seeing a couple sites where either the background is gray and then the font is also a gray. It's very hard to read, and so just a really quick scope on that. So the very first tip I have for making your site more readable is to make sure that the contrast is high on your website. So the best contrast is black and white. So whether it's black text on a white background or white text on black, typically it's better to have the black text on white. It's more readable, it's clean, and that is the highest contrast. Any deviation from that or colored text, you'll want to really be careful, because I've seen, like I've said before, I've seen sites where it's a gray text, so it's a beautiful gray, maybe it has a little blue tinge to it, but at the end of the day it's also on a white background, and maybe it'll be too close to it and it's very hard to read. So that's tip number 1. Make sure that your font and your background have a very high contrast value. And so tip number 2, sorry, I'm looking down at my notes. Tip number 2 is the size of your font. So you don't want to go too small. There was a few years back, there was a trend of font sizes getting smaller, and now the trend, then there was a trend where the font sizes were getting really big, and now I think it's a really nice middle. So I think typically the font sizes that I create websites with are between a 14 to 16 range. I try not to go, if it's for regular body copy, I try not to go over 16. So that is tip number 2. Make sure that your size is large enough to be readable, but not too large where it's kind of overbearing. So then the type of font. So you'll want to, I always tell people, pick a personality font, pick the font that really inspires you and really makes you say, that is me, and I'm going to use that. I'm working on redoing all of my websites right now, my fonts and backgrounds. Yeah, but that's okay, because you can always fix that. So fonts are something that you can easily change on websites, and so, which is why it's one of the easiest changes, and one of the things that I always recommend when I'm doing website audits. It's just you know, change the fonts and you might end up changing the whole personality of the website. So I was talking about the type of font, and so if you pick a personality font, let's say it's really scripty and feminine and that's beautiful, try to keep that font only for large sizes and make the rest of your copy really a plain font, Arial, Helvetica. Those are great for just regular body copy. You don't need to go fancy. If you have a headline, but your font still doesn't look very readable, your favorite font, then just make it a bold Helvetica or a bold Arial, anything like that, so that it looks like a headline, but it doesn't distract and it's still very readable. So then the fourth tip is spacing. Let your copy breathe. Don't let the space between the copy get too close where it's not readable anymore. Oh, thank you for inviting people. Make sure that there's enough room to breathe, and then between paragraphs, give it a little bit of extra space, just so that it's readable, people can easily skim through it. Then you also want to make sure your paragraphs on any sort of landing page or anything like that are no more than about three sentences long. So typically, like when I went to school, they told teachers would tell me paragraphs had to be about 5. Thank you for joining. They told me paragraphs had to be about 5 paragraphs or 5 sentences long. And really, with nowadays where people want things quick, they want to skim through them really easily, you'll want to keep it at about 3 sentences long each paragraph. And then between each paragraph, leave that little extra space just so that things can breathe. And then again, between each line, a little bit of space. Don't make it everything too close. Then also with headlines, also if there's a headline and then there's a paragraph, make sure that there is space in between so that everything can breathe and just won't look crammed. And then I guess an extra tip when you're working with a lot of copy. So if you have a landing page that has a lot of copy, a lot of testimonials, an extra tip would be to, let's say you have your first paragraph which talks about what you're selling, your second paragraph is a testimonial, and then a third section is maybe, how much it's going to be. Between each of those, you can put a quote, kind of to break it up, a nice image, or a strip of color, anything like that, kind of to give the readers a break, and then a time to breathe, process everything that you've told them, and then continue on. So just a quick scope on making your website more readable. To recap, the 4 tips are: make sure that your contrast is high. Again, the best contrast is black and white. And when you're deviating from those, make sure that a good tip, if you squint your eyes and you can't really make out the letters, then you probably have to increase your contrast a bit. The size of the font, again, if you squint your eyes or if you take a step back and you can't read it, then you'll want to either increase the contrast or increase the size of the font. And it's, you want to make sure your website is accessible to everybody with eyesight issues and anything like that. And why make it harder for people to read your awesome content? And then third is the type of font. So if you've got an awesome font, a feminine font that's really frilly and has a lot of cool personality, make sure that it's still readable when it gets smaller. And if it's not, it's completely okay. You can use it in, the title of the page and anything like that. And then the rest of it can be a plain font, which is totally fine. Arial, Helvetica, anything like that. My personal favorite is Helvetica. I know a lot of people use Arial. And then there's the defaults that websites go to, like Veranda and stuff like that. And then finally, spacing. Let things breathe. Make sure that there's that space in between the paragraphs, that the paragraphs are not too long, so that when people land on your page, they don't go, "Ugh, I gotta read all of that." And what they end up doing is either bookmarking the page and then forgetting about it, or they just say, "Oh, I'll come back later," and then they leave. And so try to keep your paragraphs short. Use bullet points. Give it space to breathe, and pretty much that will make your landing pages and your website perfect for reading and probably increase people staying on the page. All right, so that was it, and thank you so much for the hearts. Thank you. I'm a beginner at scoping, so just getting people live and getting some hearts are awesome. And if you have any suggestions? Yeah, thank you. Oh, one more thing I forgot. I am having the webinar, which I believe you signed up for. it's a free webinar. I'm going to be interviewing a bunch of bosses because I've always wanted to ask questions to all of these, you know, specialized bosses from social media to public relations and all of that. And I thought, well, what's better than kidnapping them and asking them questions? Well, let's do a webinar. So I'll be doing a webinar. It starts on Monday and it goes throughout the week. Maybe I will keep doing it depending on the turnout. Yeah, thank you for signing up. Yeah, I'm so excited. Send me any questions that you might have for any of the ladies that will be hopping on. So in case you want that link, I came prepared this time. It is roblesdesigns.com/webinar-sign-up. So yeah, thank you. And again, if you have any questions for them, feel free. You can even go to my site and in the contact section, email me your questions for them. You know, you can find me on Facebook and private message me their questions. Go to my Facebook group that's Bad Bitch Brands and ask questions for them. And yeah, we were going to gather a bunch of questions. We're going to hop on and just have a great chat about being bosses and having fun while doing it. All right, so I will let you guys go and have a great evening, or if you're watching the replay, great morning, afternoon, whenever it is. All right, bye-bye. Bye.